Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. I'm your host, Hailey Rowe, and I help you get clients consistently, market your standout offers, build your business foundations like your messaging, your niche, your offer, and I help you build a sustainable, profitable coaching business that works with your schedule. And I'm so excited to dive into the show. Here we go. I have a new free gift for you. It's my free time management system. And this is something that you're going to actually be able to stick with. It's nothing too fancy. It's not going to require spreadsheets. And it's basically teaching you how to love your calendar, how to plan your week and prioritize the result producing activities, how to prevent procrastination and keep getting better and better at time management with my 5 reflection questions you can use weekly. And it's what I personally used when I was juggling so many side jobs when I was first growing my business. So I can't wait to share it with you. It's at haileyrowe.com/time planning. It's all one word. And if you need the direct link or you can't find it, just feel free to DM me at Hailey_Rowe, mention the time management system, and I will get you the exact link. All right, let's get into the show. Hey, I am live today, and we have a very special guest who's going to share with us some tips about imposter syndrome, about perfectionism, and she works with a wide variety of entrepreneurs and knows what goes through our heads when we're doing all the things like Facebook Lives and putting ourselves out there. So why don't you introduce yourself first, your name and what you do, and where you are in the world, and then we'll go into some questions.
Hello there, beautiful people. So my name is Elena Matei. I love taking the title of the intuitive coach. D is the pun intended with Diana, of course. And what I do is I hold the space for you to unfold your wings. I always consider this a sacred space where you actually get to grow. I nourish the insights you have. And I always show up empty and being fully present for you, for me, for us. And I'm currently located in London.
Nice. Awesome. Well, welcome. And let's talk a little bit about trusting our intuition in business. So here's the thing. I hear a lot of people who feel like I could do this, I could do that, I could do this marketing strategy, and I don't know which one to do. And a lot of times we don't trust ourselves. And I help my clients, learn how to trust themselves, but also with their marketing strategy. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you got to have that self trust that, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to support myself and have my own back in the process. So what would you say to somebody who's really struggling with indecision, that I don't know energy, not trusting themselves in their business?
That's a great question. I've been there, done that. It's something I absolutely love support my clients with as well. In the very beginning, you may just get that fear of everything being perfect, of fear of being also like, if it's not perfect, I'm going to be criticized. And because I'm going to be criticized, I'm going to be rejected. And because I'm going to be rejected, I'm never going to really make it, because making it means to have 10,000 people on my live and lots of messages congratulating me, boosting my self-worth. But is that so? It's not. Literally deliver your message with your authentic voice. Deliver it yourself. And yes, of course, you may show up as being afraid in the very beginning a little bit, because you probably never had a live. This is my first time showing directly on a live podcast. I usually have the recording, so if there are any noise background or mistakes or whatever, they can take it out. Or if there is too much again, it can be taken out. Now I'm like, no, I'm gonna jump in. Why? Because I truly believe that done is better than perfect. You know what? Actually, I'm going to share with you a short story. I remember I am a fan of Danny Watson. She is a fantabulous.
Say that again.
Danny Watson.
Okay.
She she's on Facebook. She's absolutely fantabulous woman, and she has this book. She wrote it a few years back, and I remember at a certain point in that book, I've seen like a mistake, as in the pagination was not correct, and I'm like, oh my gosh, let me, write to her and let her make her aware of it. After I did that, I was thinking like, what is wrong with me? Like, that was my first question. What is wrong with me? The woman actually poured her soul into this beautiful book. The essence of the book is absolutely beautiful. And yet, I got stuck on that page that it wasn't correct. Like, the paragraph was not straight, and then it was like not online, and then there were like some small mistakes and everything. I'm like, she created. I struggled with a damn book for at least 15 years, putting it out with poetries and everything before I even published anything. And I was like there without realizing, getting my perfectionism onto someone else's book. Why? Because I was scared. Like, how can she do that? Like, probably it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It has to be perfect. Why is not perfect? Well, it's not perfect, but it's there. The message is there. The message is strong. And she decided that the best way to do it is to show up authentic in an authentic way. And she did it. She's shining her light all over the world. And she's an absolute fantabulous soul. So when you are afraid of actually making mistakes, make the mistakes. You're going to learn. You're going to grow from it. That is how you actually grow, from making mistakes, plenty of mistakes, tons of mistakes. Allowing the ego to come up front, it's always going to keep you stuck in a loop of, okay, I'm going to be rejected. I'm not going to do it now. Maybe tomorrow, or then maybe not tomorrow. The day after tomorrow is going to be a better day. But then if I'm thinking like my schedule is pretty booked for the next few years, so you'll always be faced with resistance, and that's fine. Breaking through that resistance, breaking through that walls of your ego that your ego creates because it loves familiarity, that's the best way to go through. That's the best way to do it. Do your first live, write your first poetry, submit it. Who is going to judge you? You're going to be your biggest, highest, greatest critic nonetheless. No one else is going to judge you as much as you are going to. And the ones who are doing it, it's because they themselves have their own fears to face, as I had previously.
Wow. Yes. I love that story that you shared because it illustrates so well just what goes on in our minds of focusing on the one thing that's wrong. And I think everyone here can reflect and ask yourself, where have I been kind of doing little procrastinations? Like little, like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow because you're afraid to put it out there. And start to catch those. And then same thing with the little quits, which are like, okay, you know, oh, because you can't do it perfectly, or because you don't have 2 hours to work on your website, you don't work on it at all, or whatever. So I think one thing I wanted to ask you about is when these people, our coaches who are listening, have moments of, okay, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, kind of like what you said, or it's not good enough yet, so if I just wait a couple more days, it'll be fine. What should they do in that moment to interrupt that? Or what should they do to start like pressing play, going live, like actually doing it?
Literally doing it. Literally doing it. And why? Let me put it this way. I wanted to have my own membership for 4 years now. I put it off for so long because I was always like, oh, but there is someone else who has this, or there is someone else who's touching on the subject, or there is someone else. I mean, they have a few $1,000s, like at least a few thousand. They are masters. They have like decades. I only have like, what, 3 years behind, this coaching industry and everything, nobody's going to take me seriously. And as I grew, I'm like, you know what? I am here with a purpose. I have my own purpose and I am unique. Whatever, for example, I love Yasmin Boland. She's an astrologer, a monologist. I even took like her certification and everything. I really do love her. There are, however, a few things that I would probably do differently. And I love working with the moon. It's the same with Lisa Melbourne. I love her membership as well and the way she delivers it. Yet, again, I would do it differently. However, did I do it? No, because I was always thinking, no, this is still not good enough. This has to look well. Right now, I actually started working on it. Like, rather than always putting it off, rather than always saying like, oh, maybe tomorrow, as I previously said, or not yet, or I still have to learn a few more. I have to get more accreditations. I have to get more diplomas, maybe learn a bit more about this on the subject. What if somebody is going to ask me and I'm not going to have the answer like straight then and there? Like, oh my gosh, are they going to laugh at me? Maybe. But I'm quite sure that the moment I would tune into my intuition, into myself, I'm going to have an answer straight away because I believe in myself and I believe I'm here to deliver probably a message that has been delivered several times, but in a different way. And that makes the difference. The way I deliver it is different than the way you deliver it or anyone else delivers it. And that's what is going to attract your soul tribe. That's what's going to be a vibrational match with others. That's how you are going to grow yourself and support others' growth and expansion in the process. So you would literally, as you previously said in my episode, you would be selfish not to show up, not to share your gifts, because you are coming here on this planet Earth with a set of gifts, with plenty of gifts. And you are not meant to keep them for yourself. You are meant to share them. You are meant to support others who've been dealing with the same, well, I'm not really a fan of the word issues, but right now it's just challenges, with the same set of challenges that you have dealt with, but you are going to experience them differently. They are going to experience them differently, and that's fine. We are all at different stages in our lives, and we all have a different experience. However, when we choose to take action, the smallest step, procrastination does not have space anymore in there. It's going to be like the moment you're going to release that perfectionist, the moment you're going to release those fears, procrastination is going to go with them.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And it's funny you mention that because I think a lot of times with imposter syndrome, like the things about ourselves that we are like, this is something wrong with me, are actually things that your people might be looking for. So like if you're like, I'll give you an example. When you said, oh, who would want to work with me when I only have this many years of experience or whatever, when I first started years ago, I had in my workbook like a question when I onboarded clients about why did you pick to work with me or why did you want to work together? And a lot of times they would be like, I like that you're not like a gigantic, Tony Robbins at, multiple seven figures, because you're a couple steps ahead of me and you can still understand me and and you can like personalize it for me. And that was in the beginning of my business when I thought, oh, who's going to want to work with me? Because I'm, fresh on the scene and I'm new. And so the things that you think would be limitations actually might be your strengths. And the other example is I had a client who said, I really feel like anyone older than me would not want to work with me. Like, I feel like that's just an automatic, like, who would want to work with me because I'm younger than them? And I'm like, what? No, if you're an expert in a certain thing and you focus on that every day, and you know what you're doing in that area, they don't that just because they're older, that doesn't mean that they've focused on that as much as you have, right? So I think we have to look at what are these things about yourself that you don't like, and what's your opinion on yourself? And that's the work we have to do, because it's really a lot in your head, right? So what's one thing you maybe have helped like tools you've given your clients, or things you've done with them to help them see that their flaws aren't, the be all end all?
I love that question. And I'm going to start with I don't have the, I don't use the term help. For me, help somehow, but again, this is my perspective. For me, help comes from a place of inequality, that I'm somehow in any way a little bit superior. I know it's all about perception and being ahead. However, I prefer to use the term support. And the way I support my clients with this is always showing up empty, always being present, not answering some messages like while they don't see under the screen, if it's a Zoom, or if someone comes in the room when I have them here. There is no such thing. Everyone knows that the moment they are coming in here, my alarms, my everything, it's all switched off, and it's only the two of us in the world. That's it. My focus is the client. And it's always about trusting them with the answers. I'm asking questions that are going to trigger certain insights, and I'm nourishing those insights. I nourish them because I'm not doing therapy. I know how in the very, very beginning, well, I used to do therapy as well, and I still do. But when I'm talking about coaching, it's a total different thing. So it's all about being in the present, working with your present circumstances to create your future. It's not about working with your past in order to heal your traumas and then, realize why you are here now. I want to go further. So if I feel like they need therapy instead of coaching, I would say that. However, it did not happen until now. It was every single time when I kept on nourishing that inside, people showed up so beautifully, so strongly. And of course, sometimes it happened in a session, sometimes it happened in 3 5. I mean, your insecurities, your paradigms, and everything, you do not grow them overnight. It's like saying, I gained 5 pounds in 2 hours because I ate a chocolate, and then I want in the next 2 hours to get them off. I would love to see that. If someone has the recipe for that, do sign me up. I'm all about it. No, I'm not. So seriously, now, leaving any jokes aside, it is about the way you show up. And I show up empty. I'm present, and I nourish the inside.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's an important reminder for coaches. And really, one thing I want to ask you about when it comes to facing your fears is, give me maybe an example or story that you had to go through and how you got yourself through it, when it comes to either perfectionism or facing a fear or imposter syndrome.
I have quite a few, to be honest, but I'm going to, I'm going to go with the live one. This year, I did my first live on my Facebook profile. I did lives before in the groups, paid ones in other groups. I had no issue with it whatsoever. Okay. I did plenty of appearances. I never did it live on my profile, be it Facebook or Insta. And the first time I did it on Facebook, I remember I was just checking. Is it okay? Is the light good? Okay. Am I sitting? No, I'm not sitting well. Okay, let me move this. Okay. I didn't even realize I was live.
Oh, no.
Already. Somehow I did not realize that.
That's so funny.
It was so funny. And I remembered when I realized I knocked down some things, and then I started cursing, pardon my French, and everything. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. Why is this happening? I'm like, okay, we calm down. I think I need a meditation first. So it went on for probably 7 minutes before I realized. 7 minutes. 7. Okay?
Wow. I love that. Oh my gosh.
7 minutes. And I remember when I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, like automatically by default, I just deleted it straight away. And then I was like, why did I do that? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't like people to see that side of me. And then I'm like, why? It's me. I mean, there are so many others who go through it, and it's because of these anxieties and so on and so forth that they don't show up. And I felt regret, but somehow I couldn't get it back, And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show up. That's it. I'm going to do the live. And I remember I did the live. And then I did the live with my friend that is also a coach, and we have this membership together. So I invited her, and then it just flew so naturally, I just relaxed after realizing that I made it like this. And somehow I even seen that I would get the thumbs up. That's how I actually realized, that I'm live. I'm like, I shouldn't be getting these ones,
That's
what? So even though I showed up that way, that was me. That was the way I was authentic, and that was me with all my fears. But I showed up. Yes, I deleted it. But the next one, like 5 minutes after, when I did the one with Sarah, it's there. It's on my profile, and it's getting so much attention. I did not even expect that many views, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. And once you do something really scary like that, then everything in comparison, you're just like, oh, no big deal. Right? I have to give a lot of credit to my youth of going on auditions for singing and like acting when I try to be an actress, which is not my jam. No longer do I want to act. But anywho, you go on these auditions and they'd ask you to do ridiculous stuff, and it'd be on the spot, and you're just like, nothing is it's just, after you've done stuff like that, you're just like, oh, talking for 20 minutes about time management on Instagram, fine. Like, I don't need it. Like, you get that habit. So you kind of had that icebreaker where you were live, you didn't realize it. And now probably everything else feels kind of a lot easier, right? So where can people connect with you, get your freebies, all that good stuff?
So I can post my link tree down below in the comments. Also on Facebook, I'm Diana Elena Matei. Like, that's my name, and that's how you get me. On Insta, you get me like exactly that, d.intuitive.coach. And these are, well, I'm still doing my best with Insta, getting my groove with it. But Facebook for the time being is the main platform I'm still showing up.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your tips with us, and everybody can connect with you. We'll put those links in the show notes when this becomes a podcast, and thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful, and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.